My pleasure to introduce our next spokesperson, and the next presenter is Jared, to do a presentation on Ohio's Grazing Management Minute Series. So Jared, let's see if the controls are working, and check your audio.
Looks like it's working okay. Can you hear me okay, Ray?
We got you just fine, Jared. Thank you.
All right, perfect. Appreciate that introduction. And you know, someone had made the comment earlier that they were a veteran to these state sharing sessions, and I will say this is my first time on that, and I didn't envision my first time as being a speaker, but I appreciate the opportunity. And what I'm going to talk a little bit about is the grazing management video series that we came up with as a result of COVID-19. As with many of you guys out there, COVID-19 threw a big wrench into the plans that we had for 2020. As you can see there on the right, those were some of our traditional pasture walks, some of our technician development programs that we would put on throughout the year. And we as a grazing team, and I wanted to give a shout out to the grazing team that we have here in the state of Ohio, because as with any program, it's not just one person. We've all worked together, as well as Megan in our communications department at the Ohio Department of Agriculture. We've all worked together to put together these video series, these trainings. The grazing team is made up of a group of individuals that each have a little niche that they cover. Some of us go out and do grazing management plans. Others are responsible for all the individual trainings that we put on, whether it be our technician development program for new soil and water conservation district employees or NRCS technicians, or whether it's putting on grazing schools or pasture walks or things like that. So that's our grazing management team, and those were some of our pre-COVID events, and I promise that these were all prior to March 13th. So you see us there not following our guidelines, where 6 foot distances plus our masks. So I promise those were all prior to those regulations coming out. So as we started into 2020, as with most of you out there, we kind of kept saying that, all right, when this blows over, we'll be able to hold these events. So we spent a lot of time and a lot of effort planning these events and getting our presentations ready, thinking, all right, well, next month we'll be able to hold that. Well, these are a lot of the events that we had planned between March and September of this year. We're very involved with the East Central Grazing Alliance. We act as a planning agency, or act on the planning committee, as well as guest speakers there as well. And I mentioned the technician development program a few times, where we work with those new employees. This year we were going to work on grazing management plans, and it's not just management plans, it's any aspect of conservation practices out there, whether it be watering facilities, trails and walkways, heavy use pads, to waterway development. Some of the new stuff that we had planned for this year was our forage diversification workshop, some cool season forages, and some things that we were really looking forward to getting out there and getting in front of crowds and promoting grazing management throughout the state of Ohio. So as the events, or as the months kind of wore on, we realized, you know, these first 3 or 4 have been canceled. We're going to have to do something to get out in front of these producers, to get out in front of these soil and water district employees, and still promote grazing management, still get our face and our message out there. So we came up with the idea for the Grazing Management Minute series. So what we wanted to do with this series is we wanted to provide timely and informative topics, but the one thing that we really wanted to focus on with this video series is we wanted to keep it short. We're not the first ones to put together videos. We have another grazing council that operates in the eastern side of our state that was doing virtual pasture walks, and a lot of good information. But the one thing we wanted to do is keep these short, because as we were watching these videos from some of these other entities, they were 25, 35 minutes long, and you would find yourself kind of getting lost or working on something else while you're watching these videos. So we wanted to keep it short and keep these producers and these district staff undivided attention for 2 to 3 minutes. So that's what you'll see in our videos, is they're anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes long. We want to provide them enough information on a timely topic so they are kind of left with wanting more. And we have the contact information where they can get a hold of us, and we have received multiple inquiries after someone has watched our videos. And the big thing that I kind of really want to stress is that the timely topics. So we've done 3 videos so far. The July 2020 and August 2020 are the ones that have been released so far. The September one was just filmed, and it should be up on our Facebook page, the Department of Agriculture's Facebook page, within the next, if not today, tomorrow. But what we wanted to focus on is, like July 2020, we focused on warm season perennials. So we were out in the pastures when that particular producer was putting those cows out on the big blue stem pastures, on the switchgrass pastures. So we were there for that, to show producers, to show our soil and water staff what these particular forages can do at that particular time. The same thing for our warm season annuals. That was shot at our place. We had a test plot where we had some sorghum Sudan grass planted. So being able to stand in that sorghum Sudan grass plot with 6 foot, 7 foot tall forage right there really drives the message home that, hey, you can produce this amount of tonnage on your particular farm. And we wanted to continue that series, and we see the value in maintaining this series, not only to provide these informative topics, but as we get back to some sense of normal, to promote some of our in-person grazing schools, our in-person pasture walks later on down the road. So as you can see, what we have there planned for the next year. So as with any new idea, when I say humble beginnings, is when we came up with the idea, we were still under pretty strict quarantine requirements. We were only allowed out for emergency situations as department staff, and that basically consisted of if we had pollution complaints, we could go out on those and address those, but for anything else, we couldn't go out on. So as the idea kind of materialized, we used the staff and the equipment that we had available to get this off the ground. And when I say staff and equipment, we had a state issued iPhone, and we had our children at home since they were home for school. That's me on the right. And that's Cody, my colleague, on the left. My 4th grader did all the filming for me. So it was sometimes a contentious hour and a half of filming to where she wasn't focused on something else or get lost on some things. And I'm sure Cody dealt with some of the same issues as he was filming with his boy. But we were able to get the videos out and up on our website or up on Facebook pages and get those distributed, so we could kind of see what we were getting ourselves into. And we got a lot of positive response on those first videos up until the communications team got a hold of it and realized that some Department of Agriculture staff were sending out videos without their blessing. So they watched them. We were not crossing the line in any means, but they said, you know what, for future videos, we would like to work with you. And that's been a tremendous help, because they have better video equipment. They have a professional videographer. We're able to get microphones on us, and we're able to drown out the background noise from the wind or the cattle or any other type of noise or cars going by. So the production value has definitely gone up. And since we've switched over to communications helping us, we're the format that it's in now, we're easily able to share that content with our soil and water districts, and they can share it through their websites, they can share it through their social media pages. And late last week, I checked, the 2 videos that we've had up just a month or so now have been viewed over 2,500 times. And that's a big boost for us, because even with all the events that we do year round, we probably won't see 2,500 people. A lot of it are repeat customers that come to our grazing schools, that come to our pasture walks. Some of them in Eastern Ohio treat it as, their social event. They'll come get a free meal. They can nose at someone else's farm. So just within a month, reaching 2,500 people, and 2,500 people in a different format, we're likely seeing customers that we don't get at our normal events.